just going to take a quick standby. This is VA3AZA returning. Okay, so if you see a bunch of strange messages in the chat panel, that was the RF somehow getting into my keyboard, so I hope I fixed it. Anyway, right, so that sounds good, and the whole challenge of getting those digital voice boards to work and whatever before you find them is don't worry, you're not the only one who has had those challenges. It just reminded me. I remember I was using the Pi-Star build on a Raspberry Pi, and for some reason to configure the type of hardware you're using, you had to press the update button for every parameter that you change. This is an earlier version of Pi-Star, and that it had a web interface, all the control stuff, so the control settings for the distribution, and a whole pile of parameters with their own controls. I don't know how many, but you had to update every time you set a control. You had to update, so it took me a while to figure this out, and I had to do the same thing. I went out and sort of tried to learn as much as I could from the web. But yeah, that's just the way it goes with these things. But anyway, take a quick standby here. Net control returning. But you'll be okay. Sounds like you got lots to play with there, lots of digital modes. So that'll be lots of fun. Let's see, we're at the end of our list of RF generals. Let's see if there are any other RF generals. There may be someone else out there who wanted to check in RF general. Then we're going to Echolink. Don't worry, we're getting to you, Echolink general. So anyone else on RF who wants to join us in this segment, RF only, please come now, please.
VA3 GDZ, Gary.
Okay, net control acknowledges VA3G's Gary. Gary, good to hear from you, and we'll pass it over to you. I guess we're coming to Echolink. We're going to, right after Gary, we're going directly to Echolink check-ins. But Gary, I hope all is well with you this evening, and we'll pass it to you. VA3AZA to VA3GDZ.
Good evening there, Brian. We can hear you finally. Boy, you had a rough time at the beginning of the net, and poor Reg there, he's got computer problems. My God, those are time wasters. And Mark was having fun in his shack with some stray RF, he says, and the audio wasn't coming through on YouTube, but everything seems to be working fine now, which is great. And I see the ham conference has joined us, which is always good. And Bob from Mesquite, Texas, there, he jumped in to tell people what was happening. Good for you there, Bob. Nice to see you all in there. Yeah, I heard you mention about even swimming this early in the year, it being May. A week ago, I was in the water at the cottage, did some shoreline work and other jobs up there before the black flies start to carry you away. So we got in just under the wire. Other than that, it's been really great weather here and a lot of outdoor activities, one of which was a local club here, the Skywide Club in Etobicoke, had a barbecue by the lake. It's a small group. They're trying to reactivate. And one of the guys brought a Yaesu 991A HF setup, threw a wire over the trees, and we were talking to several guys that were doing parks on the air. We told them we were in a park, but it wasn't an official parks on the air, if you know what I mean. And I do have an observation, since it was my first time playing around with the HF set and outdoors. I didn't really like it because of all the stray noise that you get. And I thought my impression was that you should have a headset and a noise-canceling mic. But I'd like to hear comments from others who operate outdoors. Anyways, it was great. The only downside is I don't think I can look at another hamburger again for at least another week. Back to you there, Brian. Consider me one and done, but I will try to keep on listening. This is VA3 GDZ, Gary, West End of Toronto.
VA3 GDZ, VA3AZA, net control returning. Okay, Gary, excellent. So you went up up to the cottage, and yeah, I guess the insects are always kind of bad at the beginning. And actually, they don't really start going away until the end of July, I think. But yeah, the water is very cold. In Georgian Bay, we couldn't go all the way in. It was going up to your waist, and it was just too painful after that. So yeah, we weren't too brave. But anyway, interesting point about some of the equipment for outdoor operating, and just mostly the equipment you would need to kind of mitigate noise, and I assume you mean like acoustic stuff around you, not necessarily RF. Good question. Maybe people will have some comments about that. As for headsets, yeah, I have to admit, I have an 817, Yaesu 817. I operate outside sometimes. I've taken up north with me, and actually I did field day a couple times with it from a remote location. And I always operate it with a headset. I have these wonderful the Sony headphones that I plug into them, and I use the mic. I don't have a boom microphone set for it, but yeah, I always do that. Always for exactly that reason. Well, also for the reason that it reduces the power consumption, but the speaker draws more power. Yeah, we'll see what other people have to say about that. We'll take a quick standby here, but thanks for joining us in this round, Gary. I think you said you might be one and done. We'll keep you on the list anyway. Net Control is just going to stand by for a second.
VE3MIS.
And Net Control is returning. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's go to general check-ins for Echolink or other digital. If you're out there on Echolink or other digital and you'd like to join us in the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club 2-meter net, come now, please, with your call sign spelled phonetically, followed by your first name. Echolink only, please.
Hello, this is KN6 UAS. Arijit, first time on Echolink. So please pardon me for any problems that I do. Once again, KN6 UAS. And this is from Alviso, California. KN6 UAS.
Okay, Roger. We got a call sign in there from California. KN6 UAS, I believe, coming on the ham. I think it was the ham conference. KN6 UAS, and we didn't catch the first name, but we'll pass it over to you. Net Control to KN6 UAS.
Kilo India 5 Quebec Whiskey Echo. It's Jack and Laredo checking in on Echolink for the first time and really just fun to listen. And pass it over to Net Control. Over.
KI5 QWE, I think, and that's Jack. Just take a standby there, Jack. We're just waiting for KN6 UAS, but I acknowledge you, and we'll come to you in just a minute or so. Let's just try KN6 UAS, see if he's still there. KN6 UAS, if you want to come and join us, please do so now. Over to you.
Hello, yeah, I'm having trouble actually. I'm using my cell phone now with Echolink. That's what I did. And I'm having trouble with it to actually transmit. It works sometimes, it doesn't work. But I don't know where all you are.
KN6 UAS, VE3MIS Net Control returning. Okay, we got that. You're having a little bit of trouble there, some intermittent connectivity trouble with your cell phone. But just to answer your question, this net originates in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, which is over about an hour or so north of Buffalo, New York. on the Canadian side, and just a little bit west of the city of Toronto. It's net's open to anyone who's interested in joining via Echolink or RF if you're within reach of our repeater. And that's run every Tuesday between 8 local time and about 10 or whenever we finish. Around about 10, quarter to 10. Okay, well we'll go down to Jack here as well, and I think he's KI5QWE Kilo India 5 Quebec Whiskey Echo. I think, Jack, you can correct me if I made a mistake on that. So over to you, Jack.
This is Kilo India 5 Quebec Whiskey Echo. This is Jack in Laredo, Texas, and thank you for coming back to me, and I'm enjoying the conversation so far. Sure wish I could go to the conference, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to this year. But anyway, I'm just mostly listening tonight, enjoying the conversation, and going back to you. Over.
Kilo India 5 Quebec Whiskey Echo, Jack. Well, you're more than welcome to join us, Jack, and we're glad you're able to get in tonight. And lots of interesting conversation here. A couple of things have come up already, and maybe we'll hear some comments about remote operating with field day. I know Gary is asking people for input about that and the easiest way to operate remotely, whether we should have headsets and such. So maybe we'll have a couple comments on that. But we run every week, Tuesday between 8 and 10 local time here in Mississauga, and certainly you're welcome to join. Okay, well, let's see. That was, we had 2 Echolink general check-ins there, and maybe we should take a quick call for any others who might be out there and want to join us. So if you're out there on Echolink or other digital, and you'd like to join us at the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club, please, with your call sign spelt phonetically, followed by your first name. Echolink only, please.
KN6US, Arijit, joining through Echolink. First time. Once again, KN6US, Arijit, joining from California, Alviso, California. KN6US.
KN6 UAS VA3 AZA net control returning. You're coming through. You're coming through. I think maybe your connection was intermittent, but you came through on the last transmission, and I believe your QTH is California. I didn't hear the city. Couldn't quite pick out the city, and I didn't get your first name. You want to try it again? KN6 UAS. We got you earlier. You are coming through now, but we'll give you another chance here. Net control to KN6 UAS.
This is KN6US. My name is Arijit, Arijit, Alpha Romeo India Juliet India Tango. KN6 US. Alviso, California. Close to San Jose, California, on the bay. KN6 US.
KN6 UAS VA3 AZA net control returning. And okay, well, you're getting through there, and I believe the name is Arijit, and you are in California, and we got your check-in. I hope you can hear everything we're saying, and that the connectivity is reliable. But we definitely got your check-in. And we're here every Tuesday between 8 and 10 p.m. local time in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. This net originates in Canada. We're just a little bit, our club is just a little bit west of the city of Toronto. And of course, we're on Link, obviously, otherwise you wouldn't hear us. And we're on our app as well, our local repeater. Okay, let's see. Net Control is going to take a quick standby. And VA3AZA Net Control has returned. Okay, well, that takes us pretty much to the bottom. We're at the bottom of our check-in list, and maybe we'll go back up to the top for a second round. Our second round is our 7-3 round, so feel free to add in anything that came to mind while listening to other check-ins. And we did have a question from Gary, VA3GDZ, and Gary's wondering about people's experiences operating outside. He's probably thinking for field day. He's wondering whether anyone has any suggestions for equipment if operating outside. So we'll go up to the top of the list. I didn't keep a careful record of who would be here and who would not. I know a few people won't be here, but I'm probably going to call a number of call signs here. So let's see if Reg is still there. VK6. Oh no, I don't see him. He may not be there. Okay, so I don't think Reg is there, and I don't think that Bob is there. And let's see, VK2DY. Those are all short time. I don't think Bob's there. VA3WM. John, I see John there, so I'm going to pass it over to John. VA3AZA over to VA3WM. John. VA3WM, VA3AZA, Net Control returning. Okay, John, there is, you triggered the repeater, but there was no audio on your signal, no audio for some reason, unfortunately. You're suffering from the same bug that I was suffering from a little bit earlier. No audio from Link. But anyway, well, we might give you a try towards the end of the 7-3 round. Maybe you can get sorted out. I don't know what it is. Or you can fire up your radio there and see if you can reach the VE3MIS repeater. Anyway, we'll give John a few minutes here. Maybe you can get it sorted out. Let's try VE3DBN, and we'll see if Don's still there. VE3DBN. If you're there, Don, come on in for a 7-3 round. Over to you.
VE3DBN is still here. I've been doing a little bit of multitasking here, and while I've been listening to the net, I've been running some FT8. And it's interesting. I'm putting out about 10 watts, and I've just got a contact from IK4LZH in Italy. So it's kind of fun and interesting to do. And at the same time, of course, I've been listening to the conversation. I've only experienced one field day, and hopefully I'll get out for this one. I'm not too sure yet. But I agree with the headphones. It's just too distracting and whatever not to be using those. At any rate, that's about it for me. So I'll just wish everybody a good evening. I trust everybody and their family enjoys some health and happiness in the time to come. And just have a good evening, and I'll turn it back to net control.
VE3DBN, VA3 net control returning. Okay, Don. Good on you for that FT8 contact. Very interesting from Italy. 10 watts is pretty good. So good for you. Anyway, I'm just watching my power level in my HT here. If it drops out, I may have to switch over to yet another battery, the third battery of the evening, a giant battery if I can lift the thing. But anyway, don't be surprised if I have to do that. Okay, well let's go down to VE3XVH. Brian, we'll pass it over to you for any concluding thoughts here. Net control to VE3XVH.
VA3AZA, VE3XBH. Not much else to add, Brian. Good net. Good having to overcome all the gremlins that everybody seems to be having tonight. So, all good. And not much else. So I'll say 7-3. Thanks again for doing the net, Brian. And Mark, thanks for the live stream. And we'll listen along to the end. VA3AZA, this is VE3XBH.
VE3XBH, VA3AZA.
Stand by, folks. I think that was Brian's cue to change his battery again. VA3HES.
Okay, net control has returned, and I've just switched to a huge 55 amp hour battery, and this one should last me a few days. Well, we probably won't have a few days left on that. Anyway, so yeah, my little lithium battery is now dead. The battery that was in the HT is dead, and so I've got this battery, which I use on field day. Speaking of field day. Okay, so let's see. That was Brian. The last transmission was Brian. So Brian, thanks for joining us. And let's go down to Mark, VA3HES. Mark, if you're there, come on in. Over to you.
VA3AZA, VA3HES returning. I had a chuckle there. As soon as you keyed up and went silent, I said, oh, okay, Brian's going for the big battery now. Another good night tonight. I love the challenge in the face of adversity, and as hams were resourceful. I've had a bunch of RFI issues here in the shack. I think we all need to invest in a big sack of ferrite beads. And I'm going to drop for a sec. I had suddenly lost audio into OBS for streaming at one point after I keyed up last. Gary's comment about operating the field, I was also at the Skywide picnic, and I could hear someone calling CQ POTA from a few feet away, so I ran over and I threw my call sign out and snagged another hunter contact. But, contesting at the station, have to wear headphones, especially if you got 3 or 4 operators really close to you. But, when I'm outside, I kind of like just using the speaker and being able to hear nature around me, unless the person in the parking lot at the park I'm at deciding to let his car idle next to me for half an hour. Okay, Brian, nothing else, and back to you, sir.
VA3HES, VA3A today, net control returning. Okay, Mark, well, thank you very much for joining us. You're multitasking too. So you're going from adventure to adventure there during the net, and thanks for doing that for us. As John had a message up there about backup communications, and as I say, if things didn't go wrong, you'd never learn anything. But I'm curious to know now whether after switching to my big battery away from my tiny little lithium battery with its charge controller probably built into it, I wonder if I'm going to have less trouble with RF, or with something from the charge controller interfering with my keyboard. I don't know whether it's actually the HT or the charge controller. Anyway, these are the things that you learn. But now I also know that if I have to resort to auxiliary power, just don't even bother with a little lithium battery. Go right to the big one. There's lots of interesting things to learn. Anyway, thanks again for joining us, Mark. And let's go to VE3WBF. Barry may not be here. Let's give him a try anyway, though. VE3WBF, if you're there, Barry, come on in. Over to you.
Net control, this is VE3WBF. Yeah, I'm still here. Nothing more to add to the conversation, so 73 to all, and this is VE3WBF. Back to net. Over.
VE3WBF, VA3A today, net control returning. Okay, Barry, well, we're glad you're able to join us, and hopefully hear from you next week as well. And let's see if Peter's there. Peter might be there. We'll give him a good try, though. We'll give him a try and see if he's still around. VE3WYD, Peter, if you're there, come on in for the 7-3 round. Over to you, Peter.
VA3AZA, this is VE3WYD. I'm still here, still listening to the conversation and everything, and good thing you have 3 batteries. It's helped you out tonight. So far, I guess those gremlins have stayed in Mississauga. It's been okay up here in Brampton, knock on wood. Interesting to hear you had an FT817. I was just wondering what kind of antenna you used with that. Maybe you can reply back to me what antenna you were using with that radio. Back to you. This is VE3WYD.
VE3WYD, VA3A today, net control returning. Yes, Peter. No, I've used a couple different antennas with it. I've used just a wire dipole in my backyard. Sometimes I've used that. I have used also a random length, as they call them, random length end-fed antenna. That's probably the most portable one, and I forget how long it is. It's maybe like 28 feet or 25 feet. And the idea is you throw one end up in a tree, and then you have a counterpoise, which is almost the same length, and you hook it into your radio. I have a tuner, a portable tuner, and I put it to the tuner, and it works. It's quite amazing. I've had contacts on it and spoken to people with such a primitive antenna, but I've certainly used it with the dipole, just strung in the backyard, at lower frequencies on voice, and I've only ever used it on voice. I've never used it on digital, although I'd like to try that. On voice at lower frequencies, it only puts out 5 watts max, so like 40 megahertz, 40 meters. You're lucky if you get heard. I've been heard during contests when people are really, really listening, but most of the time it was on 20 meters that I got heard. Anyway, over to you. Net control to VE3WYD.
Okay, Brian, thank you for that information, because I got a FT817 as well, and I've been having trouble with the antenna, so maybe I'll fire you off an email or something later on in the week and we can compare notes. But anyways, I'll keep it short because we are running late. It's 9:45, so this is VE3WYD to VA3AZA, 73 to you and everyone else on that this evening. Got to hit the hay because I'm up at 5. 73.
VE3WYD, VA3AZA, net control returning. Okay, Peter. Yeah, sure, send me an email, and if you have any questions, I can clarify. But it's a pretty sturdy beast, you know, for the most part. It's had a couple things hooked up to it, but I did always use it with a tuner, just because I was afraid of destroying it otherwise. But but it does work. It's and you know, you can do lots of stuff with antennas. Imagine if I'm taking it portable, I'm taking it camping, and of course I don't want to bring a whole pile of equipment with me. I just bring a wire, and that's it. It's all wound up, and I stick it in the case. It doesn't take up too much space, and it does work. Anyway, okay, well, let's go down to Gary, VA3GDZ. Gary, if you're still there. Last I heard you were on YouTube. He is still I see a message saying that you are on YouTube. So I guess you can't respond. Maybe you can. Maybe you could reach for your radio. I'm going to give you a call anyway. VA3GDZ, this is VA3A today. And we'll pass it to you for 7-3 if you're there, Gary. Over to you. Okay, nothing heard from Gary. And we've got a couple of internet check-ins, Echolink check-ins that we'll try now. A more remote, one from California and one from Texas. And I see KN6. KN6 UAS was actually on the chat screen briefly. Let's give him a try, see if he's there. KN6 UAS, if you're there, come on in. Over to you. Okay, nothing heard from KN6 UAS. Let's try Kilo India 5 Quebec Whiskey Echo, and that is Jack. Jack, if you're still there, come on in for a 7-3 if you'd like, and we'll pass it to you. Net control to KI5QWE.
Yes, this is Kilo India 5 Quebec Whiskey Echo, checking back in again. No other traffic. I'm just enjoying what I'm listening to, and good thing you do have extra batteries. I know that problem very, very well. And with that being said, I'll send it back to you. Over.
Okay, I5QWE, VA3A today, net control returning. Oh yeah, for sure, Jack, yeah, lots of it. It just, gee, I had everything go wrong. Originally I was going to do the net on Echolink, but my headset wasn't recognized by the program, and then I resorted to my HT, but I ran down the battery, 2 batteries on the HT. And now I'm on the big battery, and, well, that's working out a little bit better, so I don't think we have any trouble with this one. Anyway, thanks for joining us tonight, and like I say, we're here every week, Tuesday nights 8 to 10 local time in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, which is near the city of Toronto. And if you're looking for a reference point on the American side, we're kind of near Buffalo, a little bit north of Buffalo, New York. Okay, well, let's see if there's anyone else out there, RF or Echolink, who'd like to check in at the end of the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday Night Net. If you're there and you want to check in, come now please with your call sign, spelled phonetically, followed by your first name.
Amateur.
I'm just giving it a try. VE3JIW.
VE3JIW, Jim. Good to hear you, Jim. And the identifier came over your audio, so I think you're just saying hello, but I'll pass it back to you. Net control to VE3JIW.
Okay, this is the E3JIW. Good evening. Thanks for doing that. You persevered, and you had some issues. I don't know if Don DBN is listening, but there was an email that went out to the Mississauga group for anybody wanting to participate in Field Day for them to respond. So I don't know if Don is still listening, if he saw that email, but if he is planning to drop by, I think the people organizing Field Day would like to hear from him Other than that, good net, and thanks for being here. VE3JIW, Toronto.
VE3JW, VE3A today, net control returning. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think Don said he'd be around for a second go there, Jim. So anyway, I don't think he was listening. But anyway, that's the best we can do. Good to hear from you as usual, and I just want to acknowledge KN6UAS. I see he has his first text up there in the chat box. So we'll just tell him we can definitely see it. You got through, and you're welcome. Definitely welcome. You can come and join us anytime you like. It's a pleasure to participate. I know you're having some connection issues, but your text got through, so everything is working more or less. Your audio was pretty good too when you were getting through. Maybe it was the other audio that wasn't getting back, or was it not? It was intermittent. Anyway, I was just checking for those of you who are curious, the little battery that I was using, the one that's not the HT battery, but I had this little backup battery. I'd forgotten the name of it, Bioenno battery. It's a lipo battery lithium phosphate, and it's good for a while, but I ran it down, and now I'm on the other one, so it worked out. Well, let's see if there's anyone else out there. We're basically at the end of the list, and we're about to close it up, but if you're out there and you want to get in, come now please with your call signs spelled phonetically, followed by your first name, last chance. Okay, net control returning, and nothing heard, so we'll close her up. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you have any comments, thoughts, or suggestions, you can contact us via email at ve3mis@rac.ca. That's Victor Echo 3, Mike India Sierra at Romeo Alpha Charlie Alpha. This is Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Zulu Alpha, closing the net and returning the repeater to general use. It will be returned to general use in about 7 minutes. It's going to disconnect. Thank you all for your participation, and 7-3.